If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Bob Proctor. Have you ever stopped to wonder why some people seem to move through life with the grace of a symphony, while others struggle as if the entire universe conspires against their every step? It's not about luck. It never was. There is something invisible operating behind everything, silent laws, as real as gravity, governing every thread of what we call reality. And when you learn how to align yourself with these laws, you stop swimming against the current and start sailing with the wind at your back. Peace and prosperity are not accidents. They are consequences. It all starts within you, inside the silent cathedral of your mind. Most people live locked inside a prison without walls, built from inherited beliefs, fears that were never truly theirs, and voices constantly repeating, "This isn't for you." But here's the truth no one ever told you. You are the cause, not the effect. Look at the world as it is, not as you were told it should be. An empire like Disney wasn't born from logic. It was born from a vision that seemed absurd. Walt Disney was fired for lack of imagination. That's right. The very man who created entire worlds was once told he lacked vision. But he knew. He understood the laws. He realized that everything is created twice. First in the mind, then in the physical world. What you see around you today is the expression of your consciousness yesterday. And what you will experience tomorrow is being shaped right now, in this very moment. Thoughts are not just thoughts. They are creative codes. They are seeds. And the laws of life do not judge whether your seed is of hope or fear. They simply grow whatever you plant. Napoleon Hill once said, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But conceiving isn't enough. You have to vibrate it. You have to live as if it's already yours. Because the universe does not respond to your desires. It responds to your frequency. And this is where the first key shift happens. Mindset is not positive thinking. It's the conscious construction of an internal state in harmony with what you want to create. Most people live reactively. They wait for the world to change so they can feel good. But the laws work from the inside out. It's not the world that determines your state. It's your state that shapes the world around you. Imagine a conductor leading an orchestra. Every instrument, every note, responds to his baton. Life works the same way for those who are in alignment. Peace doesn't come from the absence of chaos. It comes from the presence of an unshakable inner center. And prosperity isn't born from effort, but from coherence. Coherence between who you are, what you believe, and how you act. But to live in alignment, you need an inner revolution. You must break free from the addiction to doubt, from the "what if it doesn't work," from the "but I've never succeeded before." Because those phrases carry the echo of a misaligned mind. A mind programmed by mediocrity, by fear, by conformity. Look at Edison. He failed over 1,000 times before lighting the first bulb. He didn't fail 1,000 times. He discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work. Because those who are in alignment don't see failure, they see feedback. And that changes everything. You need to understand that belief is not something you have. It's something that has you. Beliefs are molds. They are the invisible tracks on which your life runs. And if those tracks are crooked, you can speed up as much as you want. You'll still be heading in the wrong direction. Bob Proctor used to say, "You were born rich. Not rich in money, but rich in potential, rich in ideas, rich in creative power, but we've been conditioned to look outside for what we already carry inside. Like someone frantically searching for a key, not realizing it's already in their own pocket. That's why clarity is power. Clarity is the blade that cuts through the fog of doubt. When you decide with conviction, the universe reorganizes itself. Because decision is an act of courage, not of logic. No one decides with all the data. You decide because you feel it, because you know it, even if you can't yet explain how. And once you decide, a new force begins to operate. You start to see what was once invisible. Opportunities that were always around you, but that your mind, clouded by doubt, simply ignored. Your vision creates your world. Remember Henry Ford? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That's not just a pretty quote, it's literal. Your belief is the mold of your reality. And if you want peace and prosperity, you must believe in the possibility of having them. You must become someone for whom these things are normal, natural, and inevitable. It's not about pretending. It's not about fooling yourself. It's about reprogramming the frequency of your life. Like a radio tuning into the right station, you must adjust your mind to what you want to experience. Because the frequency of fear doesn't tune into abundance. The frequency of hurry doesn't tune into peace. And the frequency of doubt doesn't tune into achievement. This requires a new kind of discipline. Not the discipline of blind effort, but the discipline of guarding your mind like a sacred castle. The discipline of not allowing yourself to be contaminated by the mediocrity screaming outside. Of not accepting opinions as truths. Of cultivating, every single day, thoughts that feed your greatness, not your fears. Because life doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to who you are. And to be is an active verb. It's a process, a constant unfolding. It means acting in coherence with your vision, even when there are no guarantees. It means walking as if the path is already paved, even when your eyes only see the desert. Because those who walk in alignment with the laws of life know that the invisible always precedes the visible. And action, in this sense, is not just movement. It is action with intention, action infused with purpose. It's different from running in circles. It's different from staying busy just to silence anxiety. It's doing what needs to be done with the right energy in the right direction, trusting that each step resonates with the gears of the universe, shapes the world around you. You are not here by accident. Nothing in this universe operates by chance. There is a silent order, a subtle harmony that governs everything, from the precise rotation of the planets to the beating of your heart. And if you close your eyes for a moment, if you allow yourself to silence the noise of the world, you might be able to hear it. A whisper, an inner voice that has always been with you, saying, "There is something more. There is something greater." You feel it, even if you can't explain it. A force, an invisible magnetism calling you to awaken. Not to live an ordinary life, but to live in alignment with the eternal laws of life, the same laws that built empires, healed nations, and transformed simple men into immortal legends. Edison felt this force. Disney believed in it. Lincoln was guided by it. And you are now ready to reconnect to this source. The world wants you to forget who you are. From an early age, we were programmed to obey, conform, and doubt. We were molded to compete for crumbs when we were born to create feasts. School taught us to memorize facts, but never taught us how to think for ourselves. No one told us about the mind, about energy, about the power of imagination. They taught us to survive, not to live. But now, things are different. Because now, you are waking up. It all starts with the mind. The mind is the command center of your reality. Bob Proctor used to say, "You were born rich." Your mind is the greatest resource you possess. Yet most people live as if they're in scarcity, not because of a lack of talent, not because of a lack of potential, but because of a lack of understanding of the laws. How can you expect to harvest grapes if you plant thorns? How can you expect peace if you sow conflict? The mind is fertile soil. What you plant in it with emotion, you will harvest with precision. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. This is the law of vibration. You vibrate at a certain frequency, and that frequency is your magnet. Think of it like a radio transmitter. Do you want to tune into peace and prosperity? Then stop broadcasting frequencies of doubt, fear, and guilt. The universe does not respond to your words. It responds to your energy. Change your mind, and life bends before you like iron before a magnet. Everything you see in the external world was first born in someone's mind. The chair you're sitting on, the screen you're looking at, even your own reality was unconsciously designed by implanted beliefs. But now it's time to tear up the old script. Time to write your own story, with conviction, with purpose, with fire. This change begins with belief. Belief is not a vague thought. It's a vibrational state. It's a conviction so deep that you act as if it's true, even when the world tells you otherwise. When Henry Ford said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right," he was revealing the secret. Reality shapes itself to your belief. Because belief determines action, and action, repeated with faith, moves mountains. But you can only believe fully when you have clarity. Clarity is concentrated power. It's when you stop running in every direction and focus your mind like a laser beam. Most people live with vague goals. I want to be happy. I want to be rich. I want to have peace. But the universe doesn't work with ambiguities. It responds to crystal clear intention. Be as clear as water about who you want to become, what you want to do, and the impact you want to create. Write it down. Visualize it. Feel it. With every cell. With every heartbeat. Because without clarity, your energy scatters. With clarity, it focuses and creates. And that leads us to vision. Not the vision of your eyes, but the vision of your soul. Walt Disney was called crazy, naive, a dreamer. Until the whole world walked into the park he first saw in his mind. Vision is the fuel of giants. It's the sacred fire that guides you even when everything is dark. And listen carefully. Do not expect others to see what you see. It's your vision. It wasn't given to anyone else but you. But what is vision without purpose? Purpose is the compass. It's the reason you rise when others are sleeping. It's what gives meaning to pain, sense to struggles, and glory to victories. When you live with purpose, the universe conspires. Doors open. The right people appear. Resources flow. Because the universe honors those who honor their calling. Purpose is not something you invent. It's something you discover. And you discover it when you silence the noise, look inward, and ask, "What was I born to do?" Now listen closely. This is not about perfection. It's about discipline. Not the cold, imposed discipline that suffocates, but the sacred discipline that is born of self-love. It's the discipline of saying no to what diminishes you. The discipline of repeating a new truth until it becomes flesh. The discipline of persisting even when your soul bleeds. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before he lit up the world. You will fail, and that's okay, because every fall brings you closer to the flight. Discipline transforms intention into accomplishment. An accomplishment is born of action, inspired action, aligned action, not the one that comes from desperation, haste, or comparison, but the one that comes from inner certainty. When you act from a state of faith, you move the universe. Because faith is not passivity. Faith is movement. It is courage. It is action even with fear, even without guarantees. It's like building a bridge while crossing it. But every step activates the invisible laws. Every step solidifies the path. Every step transforms you. And the more you act, the more gratitude becomes inevitable. Not shallow, mechanical gratitude, but living, vibrant gratitude. The kind that transcends circumstances. The kind that gives thanks before the manifestation because it knows the invisible always precedes the visible. Gratitude is the most fertile seed in the universe. It is the language of the Creator. When you live in gratitude, you rise above drama, urgency, and scarcity. You start to see the hidden gift in every challenge, the present within every pain. And so, you become adaptable, fluid, like water, which does not break but flows around, which does not fight but penetrates. The world changes. Circumstances change. But those who live in alignment with the laws do not resist. They reinvent themselves. And this constant reinvention is the foundation of resilience. Because those who understand the laws understand that everything is movement, that nothing is permanent, that even chaos has a sacred role. And it is within this understanding that true peace is born. Peace is not the absence of problems. It's the presence of awareness. It's the state of someone who has learned to trust the unseen, to walk firmly even when the ground feels uncertain. It's not something you achieve externally. It's a vibration, a frequency you tune into when you are in alignment with who you truly are. Peace happens when you stop fighting against life and start dancing with it. When you finally understand that every challenge carries within it the key to a new power. It was the same for Lincoln. Defeated more times than any other politician of his time. Ignored, humiliated, underestimated. Yet he persisted, because he saw something others couldn't see. And when he finally reached the presidency, he didn't arrive with pride. He arrived with purpose. And that man, once rejected by so many, changed the course of a nation. That same spirit lives within you. The same spark. The same potential to transform wounds into bridges, failures into breakthroughs, and limitations into legacy. But for that spirit to flourish, you must become an eternal student. Life is a mirror that reflects back exactly what you offer. It doesn't reward the smartest or the fastest. It rewards the most conscious. Those who dare to learn from every experience. Every failure carries a lesson in disguise. Every challenge is a teacher with the face of chaos but the heart of wisdom. And if you refuse to learn, you'll be forced to repeat. But when you learn, you transcend. And by transcending, you not only free yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Understand this. The laws of life are neither punishments nor rewards. They are neutral principles like gravity. It doesn't matter whether you believe in it or not. It works. If you jump off a building, no matter how kind or good-hearted you are, you will fall. The same applies to the laws of prosperity, peace, and attraction. They don't respond to empty intentions, but to true vibration. They operate with precision. And the greatest mistake humans make is trying to cheat the invisible through forced actions in the visible. You may force a door open, but if it isn't aligned with who you are, it will close again. The key isn't force, it's alignment. This alignment is born from self-knowledge. The journey outward begins inward. You want to change your life? First, change your inner world. Become intimate with your mind. Observe your thoughts. Question your beliefs. Challenge the stories you've been told. Who said you're not capable? Who convinced you it's too late? Those voices aren't yours. They were planted. But now you are in command. Now you decide what comes in and what leaves. Because you've realized you are the guardian of your reality. And the reality you desire. That one of serene peace and vibrant prosperity only manifests when you live according to what you teach. The congruence between thought, word, and action is the foundation of personal power. There is no prosperity without integrity. There is no peace without coherence. That's why the world admires those who live their truth, even when that truth is uncomfortable. Gandhi didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He simply lived with such congruence that the world had no choice but to bow. He was the message itself. And you can be as well. But you must choose. You must decide, in a non-negotiable way, that you will no longer live on autopilot. That you will no longer let circumstances decide for you. You must declare, with every cell of your being, that your life has a greater purpose, and that this purpose will no longer be suffocated by fear, laziness, or conformity. The universe does not respond to hesitation. It responds to decision. A decision made in spirit, not just in words. And when you decide, the tests begin. Because life always tests commitment. Not to punish you, but to strengthen you, to purify you, to strip away what is weak and reveal what is real. You will be tempted to return to comfort. You'll hear voices saying it's madness. You'll face days where nothing seems to work. But every obstacle is a filter that separates those who merely talk from those who truly believe. Every challenge is an alchemical fire, not here to burn you, but to forge you. From that fire, mastery is born. The ability to keep faith even when external evidence says otherwise. The strength to smile even in the face of uncertainty. The power to take action even when fear screams. Because deep down you feel that everything is rearranging, that the invisible is working in your favor, that life is not against you. It is simply demanding your greatness. And when you deliver that greatness, without asking for guarantees, without expecting applause, something magical happens. You become unstoppable. And this state of invincibility is not arrogance. It is profound humility. It's knowing that you are a channel, not the source. That the same intelligence that created galaxies also operates within you. That the same energy that holds stars in orbit also moves your steps. It is this awareness that gives you lightness, that allows you to release control, trust the flow, and yet still act with intensity. Because now you understand, You are not here to survive. You are here to create, to expand, to serve. And to serve does not mean to diminish yourself. It means to fully express yourself, to be so authentic, so whole, that your presence heals, your energy inspires, your journey transforms. And this transformation begins within, but it echoes through everything around you. Because when you change, everything changes. You don't have to change the world. You have to change yourself. And in doing so, the world responds. New people show up. Unexpected opportunities arise. Situations that once seemed difficult dissolve. Because the outer reality is only a reflection, a mirror. And now, the mirror reflects light. That light, that frequency, that conscious presence. This is what attracts prosperity. Prosperity is not just money. It's wholeness. It's abundance in every area. It's waking up with energy, sleeping in peace, having relationships that uplift, working with purpose, laughing with ease, crying with truth. It's living without fear. And this only happens when you live in alignment with the laws of life. When you stop resisting, stop fighting, and start flowing. Because when you flow, the impossible becomes inevitable. Yes, the impossible becomes inevitable when you live in alignment with the laws of life. Because the impossible isn't real, it's merely the perception of a mind conditioned by limitations. Impossible was what they told Nikola Tesla when he envisioned machines powered by invisible energy. It's what they told Martin Luther King when he dreamed of racial equality. It's what they told Oprah Winfrey, abused and humiliated, before she became one of the greatest icons of communication and female empowerment on the planet. They all heard, "It's not possible. It's not for you." But they all heard something even louder, an inner voice that whispered, "Go. Now. It will hurt, but go." And you hear that voice too. Sometimes in the silence of the night. Sometimes in the discomfort of failure. Sometimes in the unexplained sparkle in your eyes when you imagine the life you were born to live. That voice is your essence calling, your consciousness declaring, "You were programmed for greatness. Do not settle for anything less." And this greatness isn't about ego. It's about expansion, about how much you can grow, contribute, and awaken. The world doesn't need more empty success. It needs awakened people, whole, brave enough to live with soul. But to live with soul, you must learn to listen. Not just to external sounds, but to what's behind them. You must hear beyond the noise. Feel what the heart whispers when the mind becomes still. The answers you're searching for aren't in books, gurus, or videos. They are within. And to access them, you must slow down. Connect with presence, with the now, because life only happens in the now. The past is memory. The future is projection, but the now is creation. It is here, in this moment, that you reconnect with your power. A power that doesn't depend on status, recognition, money, or titles. A power that arises from the alignment between your essence and your actions. And when this alignment happens, everything changes. You no longer need to force doors open. You become the key. Reality shapes itself to your being. Peace and prosperity stop being goals. They become natural consequences of your state of consciousness. But this consciousness demands courage. The courage to face your inner shadows. To look your traumas, fears, and wounds straight in the eyes. Not to drown in them, but to transform them. to turn them into nourishment for your soul. Every master was once a broken apprentice. Every sage once felt lost. Every warrior has bled. What made the difference wasn't luck, it was choice. They chose to learn. They chose to grow. They chose to live not as victims, but as co-creators. And you can choose to. You can look at your story, no matter how difficult it has been, and say, "This made me stronger. This shaped me. This didn't break me. It built me." And when you take ownership of your story, it stops controlling you. You stop repeating patterns. You stop hiding. You show up to the world with authenticity. No masks. No armor. Just you whole. And that is the most powerful being there is. The one who has stopped running from themselves. This being is magnetic. It attracts, not through effort, but through frequency. Attraction is not about chasing, it's about being. And the more aligned you are with who you truly are, the more you magnetize everything that matches your essence. People, ideas, opportunities, experiences, everything begins to conspire in your favor. Because now you vibrate truth. You vibrate integrity. You vibrate freedom. And the universe responds to that with generosity. But be mindful, freedom is not the absence of responsibility. Freedom is responsibility fully embraced with consciousness. It's knowing that you create your reality with every choice. That every thought you feed, every emotion you nurture, every action you take, all of it is a seed. And the field of the universe does not judge. It simply grows whatever you plant. Plant scarcity, and you will harvest lack. Plant fear, and you will reap blockages. Plant faith, clarity, love, and you will harvest miracles. Because life does not fail. Life always responds. And that understanding is liberating. There's no one sabotaging you. No one stopping you. If there's a true enemy, it lives within. It's doubt. It's fear. It's self-sabotage. But even that can be transformed. Because you have the power to rewrite your mind. To change your vibration. To create a new energetic pattern through conscious choice. You can train your mind just like you train a muscle. You can clear emotional residue. Replace limiting beliefs, and reprogram your identity. And identity is destiny. You will never act in a way that contradicts the image you hold of yourself. That's why the most powerful change isn't about habits. It's about identity. It's when you stop seeing yourself as small and limited and start seeing yourself as a co-creator, as a channel of universal intelligence, as a being filled with light and purpose. This identity is not something you invent, it's something you remember. You are simply returning to who you have always been. And the more you remember, the more you shine. Not with superficial brightness, but with inner light. A light that does not need applause. That does not depend on stages. That is enough by itself. And this light heals. It heals itself. It heals others. It heals the spaces it touches. Because where there is light, darkness dissolves. Where there is consciousness, confusion fades. Where there is presence, chaos organizes itself. And the world needs that light. It needs you awake. You in peace. You prosperous. Because when you bloom, you give permission for others to bloom as well. You become a living reminder that it is possible. That life is not a battlefield, but a field of creation. That the laws of life are not restrictions, they are directions. They do not limit you, they set you free. Because they show you the way back home. And that home is within. It always has been. You can travel the world, earn degrees, accumulate wealth, but none of it will bring true peace if you are disconnected from your truth. True prosperity is quiet. It's a feeling of completeness, of knowing that nothing is missing, that everything is exactly where it should be, that you are guided, sustained, inspired by something greater, something that cannot be touched, but touches everything. This is the dance with the laws of life, a dance that requires presence, listening, surrender, and above all, it requires trust. Trust that even on the grayest days, there is a sun working behind the scenes. Trust that everything serves, everything teaches, everything adds up. And when you live like this, you don't just attract peace and prosperity. You become the embodiment of them. Wherever you go, the environment shifts. The air changes. People rise. Because your frequency speaks before words. And your energy becomes your signature. Your energy becomes your signature. It goes ahead of you. It speaks before words. It arrives before you even walk into a room. And when you're aligned with the laws of life, it carries a code that the universe recognizes, like a spiritual fingerprint, a signal that you're not just existing, you're expanding, you are awakening. You are operating at a level where circumstances no longer have power over you. Because you've understood something that most try to ignore. The outer reality always follows the inner one. And that's why so many fail despite good intentions. Because they keep trying to change what they see without changing who they are. They keep asking for a new harvest while planting the same seeds of doubt, fear, procrastination, and complaints. The universe does not respond to requests. It responds to vibrational coherence, to the frequency you sustain. And that frequency is built moment after moment, choice after choice, thought after thought. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So, who are you being right now? Not just when things are going well, but when everything seems to fall apart. Because that's when the truth shows up. In the dark days. When the applause stops. When no one is watching. When it's just you and your choices. It is in those moments that destiny is shaped. Not when you're motivated, but when you're exhausted. Not when you're certain, but when you choose to act even in doubt. Spiritual discipline, emotional alignment, clarity of purpose. These are the invisible forces that keep you steady while the world spins in chaos. It's not about controlling everything. It's about mastering yourself. Edison didn't fail 1,000 times. He discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work. Why? Because he knew that truth responds to persistence. That success is inevitable when the mind refuses to give up. Not out of stubbornness, but out of conviction. And conviction is born from purpose. Purpose is not something you chase. It's something that reveals itself when you choose to live with intention. It's not a job. It's not a project. It's a frequency, a way of being, a state of consciousness where every action, every word, every step echoes something greater than yourself. Purpose is when life stops being just about you and becomes a channel for healing, for elevation, for transformation. When you live with purpose, you don't work for money. Money becomes a consequence of your service. You don't live for approval. Authenticity becomes your compass. You don't act out of fear, but out of alignment. And that's when peace arrives. Because now you are whole. You are no longer fragmented. Your intentions no longer fight against your actions. Your emotions no longer sabotage your decisions. You are centered, rooted, flowing. And within that flow, true prosperity is born. Prosperity is not just material abundance. It is energetic abundance. It is being so connected to the source of life that nothing is lacking. Not courage, not direction, not provision. Everything comes. Everything flows. Everything aligns. Because you are no longer blocking, no longer resisting. You are allowing. And allowing is one of the most powerful acts there is. It is not passivity. It is conscious surrender. It is action and peace. It is movement guided. But the ego hates this. The ego wants control. It wants to know how, when, and why. It wants guarantees. But life, on the contrary, wants trust. Life wants you to leap before the bridge appears, to take the step before the ground shows up, because only then do you connect to the mystery. And the mystery is not your enemy. It is the fabric of miracles. Everything magnificent was born from the invisible, from faith, from boldness, from the leap. Ford believed in a car accessible to everyone when no one even believed the masses would ever drive. Walt Disney visualized a magical world when he barely had money to eat. Carnegie was born into poverty and turned adversity into fuel to build an empire. None of this would have happened if they had waited for the perfect moment. They created the moment because they were aligned with the vision, not the circumstances. And you can do the same. But you need to stop hiding behind excuses. Stop negotiating with mediocrity. Stop identifying with the past. You are not your trauma. You are not your debt. You are not the mistake you once made. You are consciousness in evolution, energy in human form, a creative channel with direct access to the source that creates worlds. And that source did not create you to live small. Wake up. Wake up to your power, to the responsibility of thinking higher thoughts even when the entire world is drowning in fear, to the courage of acting with purpose even when everything seems slow, to the greatness of being grateful before receiving. Because gratitude isn't just polite manners, it's a vibrational code. When you are grateful for what hasn't yet arrived, you align with the frequency of someone who already has it. And the universe responds. It always responds. But it responds to essence, not to speech. It responds to sustained vibration, not to desperate prayer. That's why so many don't reap. Because they ask with their lips, but doubt with their hearts. They say, I can, but live as if they can't. They say, I believe, but act like those who don't. And the laws of life are not moved by words. They are moved by your state of being. So be peace, be abundance, be clarity, be strength, and watch. Watch how reality starts to bend, how doors open, how paths light up, how what once felt far starts drawing near. Because now you are no longer forcing, you are being, and being is the verb of creators. You were created in the image and likeness of the Creator, and that is not just a pretty phrase. It is a cosmic reminder that within you pulses the power to imagine, to build, to transform, to illuminate. When you honor that truth, everything aligns. The laws of life are not against you. They are the GPS of your soul. And the more you surrender to that GPS, the lighter the journey becomes, even when it feels intense. You didn't come here to repeat patterns. You came to break them. You didn't come to fit in. You came to expand. You didn't come to follow. You came to lead. And that leadership begins within. It begins in silence. It begins now. Leadership starts now. The very moment you decide to no longer be commanded by what the world shaped in you, but by what your essence whispers every day. Because true leadership doesn't begin when others follow you. It begins when you stop following fear. When you become the commander of your mind, the master of your emotions, the architect of your destiny. And make no mistake, this demands discipline. Discipline not as punishment, but as an alliance with your truth. A non-negotiable commitment to what you know you were born to be. Because there will be days when giving in seems easier, when postponing feels more comfortable, when quitting appears more common. But if you've truly surrendered to the path of awareness, you know the ordinary no longer serves you. Comfort numbs you. Giving up no longer matches your soul. You want life with everything it has. The risk, the butterflies in your stomach, the apparent failure, because now you understand. Failure is merely the price of growth. Every time something went wrong, it was actually a lesson manifesting itself. Life training you, forging you, preparing you. True prosperity isn't about avoiding the fall. It's about learning how to rise with more wisdom, more courage, more presence. And you have that ability to fall and still not break, to bleed and still not stop. Because now you don't depend on fleeting motivation. You are fueled by purpose, by clarity, by unshakable faith. The kind of faith that doesn't scream, but softly whispers in the middle of the storm. Keep going. Even if everything looks dark, the light is coming. And not just coming from the outside, coming from within. You are the source. You are the lighthouse. You are the answer you were waiting for. Life is not against you. It is for you, even when it feels hard. Because pain, sometimes, is the only language the universe finds to wake you up, to pull you out of inertia, to force you to remember your power. That's why the most painful moments of your life were also the most transformative, because they pushed you inward, into rebuilding, into reconnecting with your purest essence. And in that reconnection, you realize that everything you were looking for was already yours. Peace, prosperity, abundance, confidence, clarity, all of it was dormant, waiting for you to stop searching outside and start cultivating within. Because the inner always precedes the outer. Always. You can try to run, try to force, try to manipulate reality, but nothing will be sustainable until you are aligned. Aligned with who you truly are. And who you are is magnificent, not by comparison, not by validation, but by sheer power, by the infinite capacity to turn energy into reality, to imagine worlds and bring them into matter, to fall 7 times and rise 8, to rewrite your story and be reborn, not once, but as many times as needed. This is the power of the mind, of consciousness, of the spirit that lives within you. But it only activates when you take the lead, when you stop reacting and start choosing, when you stop complaining and start being grateful, when you stop merely surviving and start creating. Because creation begins with clarity, and clarity begins with presence, with silence, with self-observation. You cannot change what you do not notice. Observe yourself. Watch your thoughts, your beliefs, your patterns. They are creating your reality right now, not tomorrow, not when everything feels perfect. Right now, in this very second. And if you want a new future, you must plant a new present. You must align your mind with what you want to live, not with what you fear repeating. Because where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, everything grows. Are you feeding scarcity or abundance? Are you focusing on problems or on solutions? Are you reinforcing the old identity or stepping into the new one? Because life treats you the way you treat yourself. It reflects what you hold. If you hold doubt, it mirrors confusion. If you hold certainty, it reorganizes itself to support you. Not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. And when you change, everything changes. The way people look at you changes. The opportunities that show up change. The way money flows changes. Because now you are on a different frequency. You've aligned with the laws of life. You're flowing with the river, not fighting against it. And this river knows exactly where it's going. It doesn't need maps. It needs surrender, trust, non-resistance. You are not here to fight life. You are here to dance with it, to listen to the inner music it plays with every heartbeat, to move with it, even when the steps are uncertain, to trust, not because you have control, but because you have connection. And that connection is everything. With it, you can walk through dark valleys and still feel light. You can lose everything and still feel like nothing is missing. This is the state of alignment. A place where peace is not conditional, where prosperity does not depend on numbers, where success is not measured by external achievements, but by internal congruence, where you wake up every day knowing, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I am doing what I was born to do. I am becoming who I was meant to be. And in this state, the impossible loses its power. Fear dissolves. The future opens up. Because now you are no longer resisting the flow. You are the flow. You are the channel, the conductor, the living embodiment of infinite intelligence operating through human form. And the only thing the universe expects from you is that you remember. Remember what you already know, what your soul whispers, what you've always felt, even when the world tried to make you forget. Remember that you are not at the mercy of luck. You are the creator of your own experience, the starting point of every miracle, the protagonist of your own epic story. So choose, now, with courage, with conviction, with presence. Choose to live in alignment. Choose to act with intention. Choose to stop explaining yourself and start expressing yourself. Choose to be what you were born to be. No masks, no excuses, no more days lost to autopilot. The time for mere survival is over. Now it's time for expansion. You don't need permission. You only need a decision. Life has already said yes to you. Now it's your turn to say yes to life. A yes backed by attitude, by action, by discipline. Because without discipline, nothing flourishes. Without discipline, dreams die in the soil of intention. But with discipline, the impossible starts to bow before your consistency. And if this touched you in any way, if these words echoed truths you've always known but just needed to remember, then don't keep this to yourself. Subscribe to this channel, because this isn't just a video. This is a space for transformation, for expansion, for truth. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this today. Be the channel through which life awakens others too. And now, write in the comments, with conviction, with presence, with power, discipline. Let this word echo into the universe. Let it be your anchor, your code, your choice. Write discipline and declare to the world that you are ready to live in alignment with the laws of life. Peace and prosperity are already on their way. because now you have become the way.